DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. I just got off of earlier this afternoon. I was recording with my friend Virginia. She has a new podcast she's doing with Stitcher. It's called This Is Critical. By the time you see this, actually it probably isn't out by the time you see this. It's not coming out till next month. But anyway, one of the things that allowed me and her to connect is that, ideologically, we actually do not agree on a lot of things. But what made her unique from a lot of other people with whom I don't agree, some people are people that I've known for years, way before social media even came out, is that we can have a rational, logical discussion about those things and even laugh at the things that we disagree with, which is what allowed us to connect with each other, which is why when she was having her show, she thought, I want to have Dre on so we could talk about these things, even though we don't see things eye to eye, on certain topics. Like she was like super, when it came to somebody like Donald Trump, she like hated Donald Trump. She actually used the word hate. And if she sees this, she knows she used the word hate. She wouldn't deny it. And I didn't hate him. I wouldn't even necessarily say I was a fan, but there were certain aspects of what he did that I could say, yo, he's good at that, he's good at that, he's good at that. And there's a reason why people like him. And then people who would get super angry just because you said anything that could possibly be neutral or positive about Trump, because people just absolutely hated him. And I'm using Trump as the example because everybody has or had an opinion about him. And that leads to the bigger point of what I want to talk about here in this video, is that in the world that we're in now, because we're all interconnected through the internet and we can all share all our opinions, hear everybody else's opinion, and we can give our opinion on somebody else's opinion, is that many of us we end up in these fault ghettos, or let's just call it a fault ghetto. That's the best way of putting it, in that we only stick around and hang around and talk to people who think the same way that we think. And if they trash somebody, you trash them. And if they have a certain opinion that you agree with, you go with that. And if someone has the wrong opinion, then you and all those people, y'all just talk shit about that person or try to gang up on that person and all these things. And often what happens, and I see this too often, more than it should be happening, is that when people they see a statement or they hear something got said, a lot of times we look at who said it before we decide whether we're going to support it or not. All right, so you hear something that might make sense to you, but then you go see who said it. All right, this person said it, or what's the consensus on this person? Oh, this person is against us. They're not on our side. They don't have the same opinions, or they don't have the right opinions on this topic. So even though they said something that makes sense to you, you won't co-sign it or say that this is a good point, because that person, ideologically, you've already decided they're on the wrong side of things. So you're never going to agree with anything that they say. Or if someone that you agree with says something stupid, and you know it's stupid, and you know it doesn't quite make sense, you won't come out and say this is stupid and it doesn't make sense, because that person's supposed to be on your side or on your team. So you won't say, yo, that doesn't make sense, or you won't challenge it at all, at least not publicly, because this person is supposedly on your side. These are mistakes, and these are things that we as a society, I'm not talking anything politically. This is not Democrats, Republicans, left, right, any of that. We as a society, as people, can't move forward if we're putting ourselves in these thought ghettos. If we're putting ourselves in these thought ghettos and saying, all right, this person, I agree with them as a person, so anything they say, I'm going to co-sign it. And this person I dislike as a person, so anything they say, I'm going to trash it. And even if they make a good point, I'm just going to ignore it and act like they didn't say it. We can't move forward doing that. What y'all have to understand is that we are all in what is called the marketplace of ideas. And the marketplace of ideas is basically like capitalism for thinking, which means what? In a capitalistic society, what happens? The best products and the best services will make the most money, and the people who create those products and services, they become rich and they can take care of their families and pay their bills and get food, clothing, shelter. And if you're in a capitalistic society and you have a trashy product or a trashy offer, then you're not going to make any money, and you're not going to be able to pay your bills, and you're going to have to go do something else. Make a different product, try something else, make a different offer, lower your prices, raise your prices, find different customers until you find a mix that works. This is the beauty of capitalism, is the beauty of the marketplace, in that the market tells you how good or bad your product, services, offers, or skills are. For example, you're listening to a guy who played professional basketball and playing ball overseas. If you want to know if you're good enough to play basketball overseas, just look at your career. Do you have a contract? Yes. Okay, then that means somebody sees you as good enough to play. Do you not have a contract? You don't have a contract? No. Then right now, nobody has decided that you are the player that they need. Doesn't mean that you don't have game. It just means nobody has given you a contract right now. The marketplace is telling you the value of what you're offering. It works the same way with, I mean, right now I'm driving in a car. If you go look down the road as you drive, every one of these cars, there's a Subaru here, there's a Toyota Camry. What's this? I don't know what that is. In front of me, there's a CX-5, and behind me, there's another Toyota. And what is this? This is the marketplace. Each one of these drivers chose this vehicle for whatever reason, and that let, who makes the CX-5? Is this Toyota? I don't even know. Whoever makes this CX-5 car, the marketplace has said that this CX-5 is worth it because, why? Because this person paid for it. That's how we know that it's worth it. And the marketplace of ideas, it works the same way. If someone has a good idea, it doesn't matter where the good idea came from. We implement that idea and we use it because that moves everybody forward. If someone has a bad idea, it doesn't matter who had the bad idea. We throw it away because that bad idea is not going to move the culture, is not going to move the world forward. So if you hear a good idea from someone who you've been taught to disagree with just because, and you dismiss that idea just because they're the wrong person or they support the wrong candidate or they said something wrong 3 years ago, understand you're holding yourself back because now you just dismissed the good idea simply because you said, well, I'm just going to disagree with anything that person says. You're holding yourself back. That good idea could have helped you, but now you're not going to use it just because somebody told you not to. Or if you hear a bad idea from somebody that you like and then you don't, but you use it anyway because somebody I like said it, all right, what are you doing? You're making yourself worse. You're sabotaging your own success by accepting an idea from someone just because you know them. Listen, if your mom or your dad or your relative or your significant other has a bad idea, even though you love them, you know them, you like them, you trust them, and you love them, if they have a bad idea, you should be able to let them know, like, yo, that's a shitty idea. Like, that's trash what you just said. That doesn't make sense based on reason and logic, not based on your emotion of I like them or I'm gonna trash the idea because I dislike them, even though the idea is actually good. Don't do that. It holds all of us back when any of us do it. And then here's the thing. Let's say that I hear an idea from someone who I just decided I just don't like this person. So anything they say, I'm just going to trash it. Now, I don't think that way, but let's say I was like that. There's a lot of people out here who are like that. So let's say I think that way. I hear a really good idea, but it's from somebody I don't like. So I just trash their idea or I just ignore it and don't say anything about it. That idea would help you. Now, if I don't take it in because I decided I don't like that person, now I can't take that idea and I never share it with you. So now the thing that would have helped you move forward, you never get it because me, the person you trusted, you watching my video, the person you trusted to give you some good game, now I'm not giving you the kind of game I could be giving you because I'm holding back on sharing anything from this person because I just decided I don't like them. So now my reluctance to be open-minded is holding you back from getting success because you've trusted me by listening to me with your time and attention. You trusted me to give you some useful game. But if I refuse to give game from this person or this group or this political party or anyone who agrees with this thing or that thing, now I'm doing you a disservice indirectly by not sharing that idea in the marketplace of ideas. This is what the marketplace of ideas means. A good idea is a good idea. It doesn't matter who gave it to you. And a bad idea is a bad idea. It doesn't matter who had it. It's just like when you go work at a job. For example, if I hire somebody to work for me, I'll show them what I want them to do. I'll show them the process that I follow and how I get things done. And I always tell them, always give them the following disclaimer after I do all the explaining. I say, look, this is the way that I do things now. This is the way that I've done things up to this point. However, I hired you not just to be a robot and do everything that I say, but also to bring some of your own knowledge and ingenuity to the job. Therefore, if you see a way that you can make this process better, we could be more efficient, we can make more money, we can save more money, we could do it in half the time than the way I've been doing it, then I want to know about it. Because just because we do it this way now doesn't mean we have to do it this way forever. That is an example of me participating in the marketplace of ideas. Just because I'm the boss and someone works for me doesn't mean they can't have a better idea than me. And just because you are an employee and someone else is the boss doesn't mean you can't have a good idea that could actually help them. And if you're dealing with open-minded people, they should already inherently understand what I just explained. But there's a lot of people out here who don't understand it, and they're making everything about, oh, this group against this group. So anything that comes from one side, we're going to throw it away. And anything that comes from this side, we just have to blindly accept it. That makes no sense. It's actual ignorance is intellectual bankruptcy is what we call it. And this is what happens when people get into these thought ghettos. So each one teach one. We could do this one person at a time. My assignment to you, based on what I'm saying here in this video, is for you to make sure you're not living in one of these thought ghettos, these intellectual ghettos where you're only taking in or accepting or agreeing with ideas that come from a certain group because somebody told you. I don't care who it is that told you. I don't care if your parents told you. I don't care if your husband or wife told you. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a teacher. I don't care if LeBron James told you, some celebrity on the internet told you. A good idea is a good idea no matter where it comes from. And one last thing that I'll say, a lot of people that we have been taught to look up to, politicians, teachers, celebrities, well-accomplished people who are publicly noted for their success, a lot of them are living in these thought ghettos right now. And for many of them, it's not really their fault. A lot of them, their careers and the success of their careers are tied to, am I going along and getting along with what everybody else is doing? If they start to go against the grain, then it might hurt their money, it might hurt their job status, it might hurt their status amongst their audience. So many of them are doing some ignorant shit, not because they're trying to be ignorant and not because they're actually ignorant, but because many of them don't feel like they have a choice. But all of us do actually have a choice. It's just a matter of what are you willing to give up to exercise that choice. That's the best way for me to explain it. So understand that when you see some celebrity doing this, don't think that they're just dumb. Some of them are actually dumb, but some of them are just doing what they got to do to protect their self-interest, which might be their money, might be their career status, might be their job title, etc. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the game that y'all got to understand. I did an episode of this on my podcast. The title is "The Truth Is Never Sexy." That was episode 1777. By the time you see this, that video might be out. So look it up on, if you're watching this on YouTube, look that up and you can see that video where I explain this, that the truth is never sexy, meaning is never one simple, neat, packaged up answer for why things are how they are. There's usually a lot more to it and a lot more layers beneath the surface of any basic explanation that anybody gives you of anything. But in order for anyone to understand that, it requires critical thinking. And most people, unfortunately, are not critical thinkers. Most people just want a simple answer to something and they just accept it without thinking twice about it. But this is why most people don't think. And also most people don't read and most people are lazy. That's 3 truths about humans you should keep in mind. But all that said, we'll stop that video at that point. If you haven't gotten your free copy of my new book, it's called The Third Day. I'll give you a free copy of the book. All you got to do is go to the link that's down below in the video description. It's thirddaybook.com. The book's free. I already paid for the book. All you're going to do is cover the shipping. Just help me out by covering the shipping. Go to thirddaybook.com. And I got a text line. My number's down there as well. It's 305-384-6894. Tell me the best thing you got from this video. What are you going to do different or think different based on what you heard here today? Work on your game. Dre, all